was an issue with that ETABS, so I have opened this ETABS version 17. So the process is the same. You have to insert this 14 and all of these values which I have discussed. You click on the blank. And now again go to the import. This is architecture plan. And now again I have saved the same grid lines as a new grid lines and click on open. And I have opened this 14 story. So you have to select this 14 and click on OK. So now you can see that this grid line has been imported from the ETABS, from the AutoCAD into the ETABS. Right. So now you can draw your columns, beams using these file as well, but you can convert these grid lines into the grid line of the ETABS, right? How you do that? You go to this model explorer by display and this model windows, click on display and click on architecture layers. And this is the G, which is the name of these grid lines. Right click on it and click on this add grid, right? So now this architecture grid has been converted into the ETABS grids. Now you can go to the options and click on this architecture plan options and click on this deselect all and click on OK. Now you can see that these are the grids of the ETABS. Now you can draw your columns. Right, so this is the quick command. Now you can draw your columns using these grids, right? So now this column has been drawn. You can select this one story, so it has been drawn in one story. If I click undo, and if I click on this new window, right? So this is the all story, and click on this draw command. Now the column has been drawn in all stories, right? Same is for the beams. You can draw the beams using these quick commands, right? In all of the grids using these grid lines you have converted from the AutoCAD into the ETABS, right? Similar is you can draw the quick slab property, right? Now the slab has been drawn, and same is for the shear walls and lift walls, which is in this is the wall stacks from which you will select the type of the lift wall. For example, let us this, click on OK, and you can place it in here, right? So it has been done in the all stories. I'm just doing this as a practice, right? So the openings for the stairs you must place. For example, this is the opening, so you must place these openings. For example, this is the grid, so you must open that grid for the stairs, and this beam will also be not present, right? And we will model this as per the actual architecture, but this was just to give you an idea that you can also model using these grid lines to import from AutoCAD into the ETABS. Right, so this is our proposed 14-story building, which I have drawn using the grid lines from the AutoCAD into the ETABS. The next one is the if you do not have any grid lines, right? For example, if you do not want to waste any time on these grid lines, or the structure is, let us say the structure, your structure is just like this. This is the building. For example, this is the shape of the building, and you cannot provide grid lines, proper grid lines to the columns. All you have to do is you have to import those columns instead of grid lines. All again, you have to save it as a DXF file. And again, you have to give it as a proper name. For example, let us call it as a column and save it. And now delete all of these. And now say this is the block, So you must go to the block and you have to unblock these. And now use the lay ISO. You can also import this shear wall as well, lift wall into the, you have to click the export. Now you have to convert these into the individual files, right? So this is the, let us ungroup this and delete these. If you want to import these lift walls, you can also import these lift walls, right? If you're not interested in the lift walls, you can delete that. But first, let us delete that. We are interested only in columns. You can also draw these lift walls in the ETABS as well, right? So now it is ready to import. Now you have to again cross it and click on yes. And save it as DXF on 0 and click on yes. So now it has been saved, right? So again, so let us discard this because it was just for the practice. I just want to show you. Now click on new tab and again you have to insert the data. So 14 Story, and this is 11. It's 11. And click on the blank. Click on OK. Now go to the Story 1 in plan and go to the import as architecture plan. And this time click on the column and select the Story 1. Click on OK. Now the columns from the architecture drawings has been imported into the ETAB. Now again the process is the same. If you want to draw with the one click on all stories and go to the model explorer on the plan view, architecture layers. Now you can see that the layer given to the column is walls because it is the highlighted one. Now click on this and add the column objects. Now it will take some time because we have selected all stories. Now you can see with one click, we have drawn all of the columns because there is no beams, no grids. So you have to go to the option and click on this architecture plan option, deselect all. Now these column, these are the ETAB column. Now you can draw your beams as per the joint of the columns. Right, so you can let me draw it like this, joint. For example, to save time, you can use this technique. draw the long columns, sorry, beams, and then you can select the joints and the beams, and you can go to the edit frames, divide frames, and divide the frames at the intersection of the other frames and at the joints, and you click on apply. Right, so now this beam which you have drawn as an individual has been converted into different segments. Right, this is just to save the time, and you can draw the remaining beam just like that. You can also draw it one by one, or you can go to the longer side, and then you have to select the different joints in that beam, and you have to click on the divide, so it will give you different sections. Right, similarly you can draw the slab as well by going to this. You can draw the slab, you can draw polygon as well by clicking on the different joints. Right, so this is how it is done using the first method by importing the columns and the grids. Right, I hope you got the procedure how it is done. Right, so after saving it is remove the ring atoms and import this user file into the ETAB, which we have done, this save file, and start modeling the ETAB using these architecture drawings. Right, so this is the first method which I have explained using the grid lines and also importing the columns into the ETABs. The next method is using the quick draw templates of the ETABs, in which you have to insert data of the building in different tabs like number of stories, number of grid lines, and story height. And then you have to select the slab system, whether it is a beam slab system or flat slab system. And then you have to define the section properties, enter the loads, edit grid spacing, and click on OK, and the proposed building model will appear. So let us practice that. Again, click on this new model. And let us write the number of grids. Again, we have to open the architecture drawings. So in the X direction, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 grid lines. And we have 10 grid lines in the Y direction. And the spacing we will keep it by default, and click on this 14. This is 11. This is 11. Right. So it is a two-way story, or two-way slab system. So click on this two-way. And from here, you can select whether it is a rib system or it is a two-way simple beam slab system. If it is not a rib system, you have unchecked this ribs, and now it's become as a two-way slab. So from here, you can define the columns. For example, if I click on this, you go to the properties, you add new, and you have to insert, for example, this is the column 24 plus 24, and you have to insert this value, and you have to select the material properties, and we will discuss this in detail, and click on OK. And you have to define the beam properties as well. So you have to click on this beam, which is B, for example, 12 plus 24. So you have to insert this 24, and this is 12. Right. So we will discuss all the properties in detail, and click on OK. And the beam property is B, you have to select, and this is the column 24 plus 24, and this is the beam in the other direction, and this is the slab. You have to define the slab. For example, let us say we have taken the slab is equal to 6 inches, and write the 6, click on OK. Right, and this is the load data. If you want to add the SDL in here, you can add it. For example, for the 3-inch marbles and the terrazzo floors, we 30 inches, 30 PSF load, and for the lab we take 40. And this is the semi-rigid diaphragm, and you keep this as default. It is the restraint at the bottom is fixed. You click on OK. Right, so click on this custom grid spacing in which we have to edit the grid as per your design, click on the spacing. And remember that this is the X direction. These are the ABC, and you have to start this from the right to left, and from the Y-axis you have to start from the bottom to top, right? So this is the 14, 12, 15, 15, right? From the right to left. This is the 14, 12, 15, 15, 12. And this is again 15, 15, 12, 14. 15, 15, 12, 14. Right? Similar for the Y direction, I have selected this grid spacing, grid line as a spacing. You can also write it as ordinates. For the Y, you have to start from the bottom, and it is the center of the column. You have to take, this is 19, 12, 20.
19, 12, 20, 12. 19, 12, 20.
This is the 12, 20, 20, 3 times 20. And again, this is 12 and 19. And click on OK. Now we can see that the model of the proposed 14-story building has been drawn with using the quick draw templates, right? So the remaining item is the defining the retaining walls or lift walls. If there is any, you can draw it manually. For example, using this wall stacks, let us select that, and you can draw it using all stories. Right? So these has been drawn, and you can draw the openings for the stairs as well. You can also divide these shells into, for example, this is divide, and let us divide this. This shell has been divided into different segments with the selection of the frames. Now you can select this in order to draw the stairs, and these are the openings for the stairs. And you can also draw the headwater tank and the mounting after that, right? And this is also, you can delete that because the lift is also empty, and you can draw this individually manually by selecting the draw manual. You will do the proper designing in the third one. This is just for the demonstration purpose, that you can also draw this 14-story building using the quick draw template, right? So this is the whole story about the second method, which can be used to draw your proposed building in ETABS, right? So this has been done, and we have the model has been appeared. Now you can save this file and start working on the model. The next method is the modeling of the proposed building using grid lines in the ETABS, right? You have to insert the data of the building in different tabs, like number of the story, number of grid lines, and then select the grids, and you can edit the grid lines, and you can draw the different columns and beams, right? So I would also start the actual designing using this model as well, but I just want to, because maybe there may be some students who don't know how to use different commands. So I want to use different commands in this course, so you will get familiar with these commands. Right, so this was the whole story about the second method. The third method is same as for the second method, but there's a bit difference. Let us click on this new model, click on no. and insert these values. This is a 14 story, this is 11, and we have this 10 in this direction, 10 in this direction, and we are not going into define any using these templates. We will go directly into the model by clicking OK, because we are interested to use the different commands, how to edit red lines, how to insert the different commands, right? So all you have to do in the third method, that you have to insert these number of stories and number of grid lines, and click on OK. So we have only inserted these grid lines, and we will save this model, right? This is the 14-story building. Now we will start actual working in this model. So now you have to use this third, you have to insert these values, and now you have to edit these grid lines, and after that we can draw the columns, beams, slabs, and other structural members using different tools. The main purpose of using this third method is use the different tools, so some students may understand these different tools. So you have to right click and click on this add modify grids, and click on the modify show grid system. So again, this is the same grids. So there's also some other options. This is the bubble size, this is the grid bubble size. You can increase or decrease this size, right? So there's also an option to rotate the grid system. For example, if it is at 45 degree, so you have to write it 45. Let me show you, and click on OK. So the grid line has been rotated in the 45 degree. So if there is any structure system or your proposed building which is rotated, you can rotate the grid system as well. So again, you have to give the spacing. You can also use the ordinates, but we have for this we have to add ordinate of this 14, and then you have to add 14 plus 12. You have to give 26 for the next grid, and same as for the other. You have to add all of these one by one, and you have to give the ordinates. But the spacing is easy. You can use this, and we are using this 14, 12, 15, 15, 12. And this 15, 15, 12, 14. Similar for the Y, we have to start from the bottom. This is 19, 12, 20, 12, 20, 20, and then 3 times 20. And after that, we have 12, 19. Click on OK. Now the same grid line has been drawn using ETABS grid lines. And now you can draw your columns using different commands. So this is the draw beam column, in which we have to draw your beams by clicking on different grid system. You cannot draw it quickly, right? But this is the command for the quick draw columns, and you have to select the property of the column, which column you want to draw. So at this stage, we will select this default A lateral columns, because I want students to use different commands, that how you will select the column and assign the properties to the different sections and properties to the columns, right? But you can also draw after the design of this course. You can directly go to, first of all, define the sections, and then after that, you can select that section. You can draw that section using the plan view. But for the learning purpose, we will use all of these procedures. So you have to right click on this. So all of these columns will be drawn, and you can click one by one, right, to draw these columns, right? So if you have this grid lines, so you can place the window by clicking in somewhere and drag this window on the right side, so all the columns will be drawn. So these columns will be drawn only in one story, which is the 14 story. So let us go to the plan, and this is one story, and click on this draw quick column commands and draw these columns, right? So it will be drawn only in one story, right? If you want to draw it in the all stories, you can select it as well and select this one story. Instead of one story, select all stories, and again this, and click on this all columns. So all columns will be drawn with one click, right? So let me undo this, and I will draw it with the one story, so I can use the replicate command, right? So I have drawn this only in one story, and let us this is making it one story. Undo, right? So the column has been drawn in only in one story, so I have to select all of these columns. Let's go to the edit, replicate, and go to the story and select all the stories. This is the drawn in story 1. Select the story 2 up to story 14 and click on apply. All of the columns has been replicated into all of the stories. Right, so this is how you can use the replicate command. Similar for the beams. This is the polyline command, which is the draw. You can draw any shape of the beam, right? This is for example, if you have do not have any grid, so you can use this polyline. None of you. Right, so if you have grid lines, you can use this draw quick command, and you have to select the property of the beam. Example, we were using as a default beam, and you will drag the window, and this is in one story. And you can go to the select properties, frame properties, and you have to select that beams, which is the concrete beam default beam, and again go to the edit, replicate, and replicate these into the all stories. Right, so this is how you will replicate the different structural members into from one story into the other stories. Right, so again, the next one is to draw the floors or walls. You can draw any shape of floor. For example, this is the polygon command. You can draw any shape of the slab, right? Or if you want to draw only rectangular, you can draw only rectangular. And if you want to draw quick, for this you need the grid lines. You can draw it very quickly, right? So if you do not have any grids, you can use this command. If you have grids, you can use this quick draw area command, and you have to select the slab property and draw all of the slab in one story, and hide the columns and beams. To select the slab only, you go to the edit, replicate, story, and replicate into the all stories. This is how the modeling is done, and you have to draw it very carefully. So this is the modeling of the beam column slabs, and we will start the modeling from here to model the retaining wall, lift walls, and the overhead water tank and Monty tomorrow, inshallah. And after that, we will go for the design stage and insertion and load definitions and load combination as power schedule. Right, so this was the end of this session 2, and we will start again from this stage, from the modeling, tomorrow inshallah. So if there is any questions from the yesterday session and from today's sessions, you can ask questions. किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप काइंडली कर सकते हैं. कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं?
एक्सक्यूज मी सर.
जी जी.
सर वैसे तो ये अपने तक है कि हम कोई भी मेथड वगैरह यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन सर ये जो आपने तीनों मेथड बताए इसमें से मोस्टली कौन सा सर फर्स्ट मेथड यूज होता है?
मोस्टली फर्स्ट मेथड यूज होता है, लेकिन वो आपके पास इरेगुलर स्ट्रक्चर्स में यूज होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप उसमें ग्रिड्स आप नहीं बना सकते तो आप नॉर्मली उसी को कॉलम्स को इंपोर्ट करके उसको डायरेक्टली बनाते हो, फिर उस पर बीम स्लैब बना देते हैं. लेकिन उसमें कनेक्टिविटी की इश्यूज काफ़ी ज़्यादा आते हैं, तो इस वजह से नॉर्मली जो ग्रिड्स पे अगर बनाया जाए तो वो ज़्यादा बेहतर, उसमें कनेक्टिविटी की इश्यूज आपके पास बहुत कम होती है.
सर काइंडली आप जब ये कर रहे हो आगे क्लासेस वगैरह में, तो सर कोई इरेगुलर बिल्डिंग भी हो ताकि हमें उसका भी आइडिया हो जाए सर.
देखिए इरेगुलर बिल्डिंग्स इसमें क्या होगा आपके पास, अगर आपके पास इरेगुलर बिल्डिंग्स आ जाएंगे तो आप वो फर्स्ट मेथड आप यूज कर लेंगे. ठीक है जी.
यस सर.
मैं आप ऐसे एक बिल्डिंग हम प्रपोज कर लेंगे, मैं बना लूंगा, कल मैं आपको शो कर दूंगा. उसको आप किस तरह इस तरह मेथड 1 यूज करके उसको इंपोर्ट कर ले और कॉलम्स वगैरह ड्रा कर लेंगे.
बाकी दो मेथड सर नहीं अप्लाई हो सकते इरेगुलर पर?
क्यों नहीं हो सकते? अगर आप ऑटोकैड में उसकी ग्रिड लाइंस बना सकते हैं, अगर आपके पास अच्छा ड्राफ्टमैन हो वो बना के आपको दे तो आप कर सकते, क्यों नहीं कर सकते? ये तो
ओके
जस्ट एन
सर.
आइडिया है ना आपको, के पास काफी ज्यादा बिल्डिंग आ सकते हैं, इरेगुलर रेगुलर आ सकते हैं. हम तो सारे एक ही बिल्डिंग, सारे इरेगुलर डिफरेंट बिल्डिंग्स इसमें एक ही कोर्स में हम इसको नहीं डिस्कस कर सकते. मैं तो सिर्फ आपको प्रोसीजर बताऊंगा कि आप बिल्डिंग को किस तरह डिसाइड करेंगे, कौन कौन से चेक्स करेंगे, लोड कम्बिनेशन कैसे डिसाइड करेंगे, बिल्डिंग्स को किस तरह पास फेल कंसिडर करेंगे. तो वो अगर आप सीख ले तो आप किसी भी बिल्डिंग पे अप्लाई कर सकते हैं.
ओके सर.
चलिए जी, अगर कोई और क्वेश्चंस नहीं है तो फिर काइंडली हम कल इंशाल्लाह स्टार्ट करेंगे. So all those new students who haven't received the recordings and data, please share your email addresses in the WhatsApp group so I can add into the Google Drive, or I will share the data models and lectures through WhatsApp, because some students are not receiving the email although I have sent them. But I will share the lectures data in the WhatsApp group and I will share the recordings through the email. Right? So all those students who haven't received any data, you can write your email address and share in the WhatsApp group so I can add them in the Google Drive. So this was the end of this session 2. See you tomorrow inshallah. And still if you have any question in the previous session, in today's session, you can ask tomorrow inshallah. See you tomorrow inshallah.